Okay, so this is the third time I've tried to make this video. Making videos is not easy. I made blunders on the last two times. Hopefully this will be the one. But I just wanted to point out from my other video that I had these descriptions underneath links, so it seemed like this was describing the links, but that was not the case. So I put better links here. These are my ideas on how to make it better, make it remote controlled open and closing, because with the links it can be hard to eat because it's not it would be nice to just turn it open and eat and then turn it closed and then keep it closed at night. That would be nice. Anyway, in my mind it's a really obvious way to improve on the links, and this is just saying that this would require battery power, which pacemakers and the Inspire device already use, so it's not like this is impossible to do. From my point of view, having not really researched how exactly to do it, I'm not an engineer, unfortunately, but so yeah, optimizing sleep using this and other variables, and then I guess I could say here like measuring sleep quality, um, and have these things being, yeah. Okay, so I know some of you, especially people that already have, been diagnosed with sleep apnea, they'll say, hey, you don't optimize sleep, you just use the doctor's prescription. He just tells you, your CPAP pressure is 10, and that's your magical number, okay? And just use that the rest of your life. They'll solve your sleep problem. And that's just not been my case. I mean, not been the case for me. And I think it's fair to say that unless you have the best doctor or the perfect doctor, that you should go in a little bit, thinking for yourself. I always like to think for myself. Okay, so yes, you should go to the doctor, but I was told by multiple doctors that I didn't have sleep apnea. Okay, and then I had to keep fighting for myself, I could say. Because if you just take the doctor's advice and you don't think for yourself, the first doctor who told me I didn't have sleep apnea, I'd just go home and just be miserable the rest of my life. But every time I thought about it, I'd say, nope, the doctor told me I didn't have sleep apnea. Okay. So, in my opinion, you do have to advocate for yourself and think for yourself, because the medical system is not perfect. And anyway, enough on that. So, optimizing sleep is a lot harder than I could have ever imagined. There's a lot of variables. Focusing on the wrong variable will waste lots of time. And then there's something called sleep pressure and REM rebound. Okay, so the longer you have been awake and not slept, the greater your sleep pressure will be. And anyway, and there's a separate issue called REM rebound. So if you are deprived of REM sleep for a long time, as soon as you are able to sleep and conditions are sufficient that you can get some REM, you will get REM rebound. Your body's going to feast on REM because it desperately needs it. Um, and as far as I know, it is incompatible with life to not be able to get REM sleep. Some people say they don't dream. So REM is dreaming sleep. Some people that say they don't dream, and it could be that their REM is either really crappy and it's so little that they don't remember it at all, or it could also mean that it's so good, because I've heard it said that if you're not awakened during REM, you won't basically remember your dreams, so they might not remember it. Now, my experience with REM is generally I have had a lot of anxiety dreams, like stress-ridden dreams or very stressful dreams, okay, especially before any of this airway stuff. So basically, most of my dreams were stressful dreams, okay, and it's like watching a movie. Like I can really remember dreaming. It's almost I could tell you exactly what happened. Sometimes it's like watching a movie. So I've heard that said that means that you're having all these micro arousals, and then you're storing that info in your brain, just like we do with memories. And so then that you're able to memorize it because you're able to recount it and remember it because you were awakened during it. It got stored as a memory, and then you're able to recount it the next day. Anyway, that's just something I heard. Not sure if it's true or not. So last night I tried, I'm trying experimenting. I tried not using this, and this will really highlight the fact that this is a big deal in measuring sleep quality because, I've been using the tongue thing for about 3 years, and generally I think it really helps my sleep quality. But last night I did not do it, and you'll see that I got an hour 55 minutes of REM and an hour 26 minutes of deep, this is amazing for me. The deep part, amazing. Okay. So this looks pretty good. Okay. So it's checking that box in a way. I'll get back to this in a second, and then you look at this is an EMA sleep oxygen. It's an oxygen measuring device, and I wore it the whole time I was asleep. But one ODI 4% event, basically what this means is that my oxygen dropped 4%. I don't know how exactly they measure it, like if they give it, a minute or 2 minutes for it to drop, or 10 seconds. Like if it drops from 1 second to the next 4%, then they count it, okay? And 3%, I had 4 events. Okay, now I've worn this just like sitting on the couch watching a show or something to see if I have events during the day, and I do. Okay, it's about like this. I'm just sitting on the couch. Okay, so this looks like phenomenal. At times, it's pretty much a straight line. Now, I think the pulse is important too, because my general thought is a spike in the pulse means that you were aroused from sleep. Okay, and in my opinion, this night is not that great in terms of pulse. It's pretty good. My pulse gets really low, which to me is a good sign. I've seen some people say they worry about that, but to me, it's a sign of relaxation. It's a good sign, but there's a kind of a lot of spikes, and then here it gets spiky. Maybe I was already up by this point. This is about where I woke up, I think. So if I had to guess, I think I woke up about here. Okay, so this is sleep from before here, and obviously I was awake for a little bit in bed after I put it on. Okay, so the oxygen's looking good, so it checks that box. The Fitbit's looking pretty good. Now, one thing I wanted to comment on is not a lot of awakenings through the night, and I definitely remember this one, and I remember this one. Okay, these ones not so. I tend to kind of remember some of these too, but it's just like kind of like rolling over and going back to bed, which actually I don't really roll over because I have to sleep on my left side, or at least I've convinced myself that I have to sleep on my left side. So anyway, I wake up and then I go back to sleep. But I wanted to point out that before I had gone on this airway journey at all, it was very common for me to get like roughly this amount of REM sleep. Now, it was complete garbage REM sleep. Like I'd wake up feeling like a pile of garbage. And the deep sleep would frequently be very low. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 10 minutes. I had several nights where it was like 3 minutes. I know I had at least one and probably multiple where it said 0. There was no deep sleep on here. Now, again, the Fitbit is not going to be a perfect measure of these sleep cycles. And this could be my own confirmation bias, but I believe that it does have some value. As I especially like to see deep sleep because to my knowledge, there is no deep sleep rebound. So you either get it or you don't. So the REM rebound, like maybe if you miss REM, it's just going to be crammed into the next night. But if you miss it on your deep sleep, it's you just missed it, and there's not going to be a deep sleep rebound. And this stuff is good for body healing, immune system, I believe, and growth. Like if you're say a teenager, you want that deep sleep to release growth hormone so that you can grow. Okay, and anyway, I think even as adults we do growth hormone. We get growth hormone too, which is I believe helpful in healing and that sort of stuff. Okay, but one thing I really wanted to point out is on this awakening right here, I woke up to urinate. Okay. So like I mentioned, I do not have this tongue thing in, and it's very rare. The past 3 years, the amount of nights that I haven't used the tongue thing is like 8. Okay, because as soon as I found out this wort helped me, you cling to it like it's your blanket. because I mean, I needed sleep so badly. I just clung to this sucker, and even though it's very uncomfortable, it's just like very hard for me to let it go because so much rides on sleep for me. Anyway, I'll get into that in just a second. Um, so I'm not wearing the tongue thing, and like I said, my stats look pretty good. And so if you just bring this to a doctor, he's gonna be like, "Gosh, this is awesome. Just don't change anything. You're set for life." Okay, but here's the part. So I had to wake up to urinate. So for at least the past 6 years, and basically for a long time, at least like 20 years, I have been waking up in the middle of the night and going and urinating. Okay, and that is a sign of sleep apnea. Okay, and so for the past few months, it has been extremely rare that I wake up to urinate. And I do wake up, but it's usually more of these kind of wake ups really quick. And I don't feel like I need to pee. So I don't. Okay, but last night I woke up here, not here. I woke up here and I didn't really feel like I needed to pee. But I woke up here and it's like, oh gosh, I gotta pee. And it was kind of one of those wake ups where I felt awake enough. Because sometimes if I have to, at least in the past when I was peeing a lot, I would try to convince myself not to get up. Because, getting up might wake myself up more and it's like, oh, I'll just hold it. But and especially because this has been an uncommon occurrence for me. It's like, oh, I gotta pee. So I wake up and I pee, and this was a rather lengthy awakening, and I took basically an antihistamine and then went back to sleep. And I think because of the antihistamine, that's part of the reason why I was able to stay. So no antihistamine here. Then antihistamine, which really I've heard it said that some people argue that it ruins your sleep quality. Some say it doesn't. Anyway, it helped me stay asleep. So that's why I think I just had minor awakenings the rest of the night, and I didn't feel like I had to pee anymore. But anyway, so to me this is significant that I had to pee. So I am, whether right or wrong, I am kind of blaming that on I didn't have my tongue thing in my mouth. Okay, so I'm even though it says deep sleep and stuff, I think I'm overall not as deeply asleep, and my body is aware that the tongue is falling back. Okay, this is my reasoning. Could be right, could be wrong. And so, anyway, and I definitely feel it today. Now, I don't feel awful, but I feel a brain fog. And what I mean by a brain fog is like, let's say I'm doing a task, and all of a sudden it's like, what was I doing? Like, what was next? Like, you just kind of, it's hard to concentrate. And if someone's talking to you, I find it very hard, especially if they're talking about something that I don't find very interesting. Even if I'm trying, I find it very hard to focus on what they're saying. Okay, so inability to just kind of stick in the present and kind of build a plan for the day. Okay, this is how it's going to go. You're just kind of wandering aimlessly because you can't think clearly. Okay, so that's how I'm going to describe brain fog, and I've definitely had that. And I've also noticed a pretty big drop in my emotional resilience. Now, to me, sleep, this is probably the biggest thing sleep does or does not do for me, is when I sleep poorly, I am not emotionally resilient. So anything bad that happens to me, it just makes me want to cry. Okay. And when I'm emotionally resilient, I'm much more able to um, look on the bright side, that sort of thing, stay positive. Okay. So I've definitely noticed kind of an overall depressed mood today and brain fog. Okay. So tonight I'm probably going to be using the tongue thing. I want to try another night. So I didn't use this last night. I think I'm going to go back to the tongue thing because I feel like I want to just cry and hold my blanket. So I'm going to go back to this so I can get back emotionally more resilient. And then sometime soon, I want to try this and see if that. Now, like I said in the past, this to me has a pretty strong chance. It was almost comparable to this, but I felt like I slept better with this and pretty good with this. Okay, so anyway, that's the video for today.